So we talked to Joe yesterday. He got asked about the D tackles, and he said, "Hey, they're a young group, and that's what we're comfortable with." So
Right.
when you look at your group, are you comfortable with guys? Because there's talk on the outside. You need to add a veteran, a guy more proven. How do you
Right.
feel about your D tackles?
I feel really good about the guys we have here. I think I mentioned it in the spring. Jordan Elliott's really coming into his own as far as getting his body right, taking that third year step of confidence and all that. And now it's got to show up in games. But I feel really excited about him. And then, like I said, we added Taven because we think he's a scheme fit and feel really good about him. And then now Togiai's got to take a step up. And then we drafted Perrion Winfrey, who we really like. So I feel good about the guys we have right now. And we're going to see when we put the pads on here what everyone looks like.
Your study of Winovich last year, what happened to him? It seemed like a totally different year from his first two.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what happened there. They do a lot of different scheme. So when we looked at him, we had to say what he would be in our scheme and what we think he can become, and going all the way back to his college tape, what do you think he can be as a defensive end.
What can it be in this scheme?
Yeah, well, time's going to tell because we're plugging him in, teaching him how we play 4 down. He's been in a 3-4 his whole career there at New England, so he's learning the techniques. He's learning how to line up, and things like that. And then we got to see when we put the pads on and get going, if he's a scheme fit and how he falls in line.
So he was an edge rusher those first 2 years. Is that what you see out of him as his main edge?
Yeah, for us, he's an edge rusher, and how he stacks up versus the run, setting the edge, what we ask our guys to do. We're going to find that out quickly when we put the pads on. So,
what have you learned about Taven now, having worked with him for a couple days, week in camp and even through the off season?
Yeah, Taven's a guy who's locked in. He's ready to come to work. Took his time off in the summer, came back in great shape. He's ready to roll. I think a lot of guys, in situations like that where you go to your second team, kind of on a prove-it deal, I think they're very motivated, and he's showing me that he is motivated. And I've enjoyed working with him so far. He's a scheme fit for us, so we're excited to plug him in and see what he can do.
Is it similar? The motivation similar for Jordan? I mean, it's a little different situation, but at the same time, the motivation for him, being in that third year, and like to kind of a prove it moment for him.
Yeah, I believe so. All those guys, they got to look at their own situation. They're all differently, right? So a guy coming into his third year as a third-round draft pick, I think he knows it's time for him to really make an impact in this defense, and he's put in the work to do that. Like I said, we have confidence in that right now, and then time will tell. He's going to have to do it in games and go from there.
Togiai, as a rookie, he started out kind of like a redshirt year, but he played at the end. Where does he stand going now? What are your expectations?
Yeah, right now he's a rotational guy for us in our 2 deep on the depth chart. And, I was pleased with Tommy's rookie year when his number was called. He's a guy who was always around the ball, making plays. He does everything right in our scheme, so he's got to take the next step like all these guys do. But, again, a guy who's putting in the work and he's ready to take that step. Time will tell if he does.
How do those bench press reps translate to him on the field?
Well, for D-line, it's important to be able to separate, keep blockers off you, use your levers. Guys give him a hard time because sometimes it's easier to bench with shorter arms. So sometimes those guys have bigger numbers, but he's a very, very strong individual, but gives you a chance to keep blockers off you, locate the ball, and get off of guys like he does and get to the ball.
What's Alex Wright shown you so far?
Athleticism. This guy is exactly as advertised. What we saw in the evaluation and his workouts, multiple workouts, coming out, pro days, all that stuff. We just fell in love with his athleticism, his size, a defensive end, that you can move inside on passing situations. So he's as advertised right now. We love what we got. With him, it's going to be about experience and reps as fast as possible, getting him comfortable in this system, and playing in the big leagues now. It's a big step up from where he came from.
Is there an eagerness to see him and all the rookies, but in pads for the first time?
Yeah, like you said, all those guys, Perrion, Alex, we got some good size. Isaiah Thomas, this draft class, 3 defensive tackles that are all really, really good size for their position. Very excited as a D-line coach to be able to get them in pads and get out there.
Miles aspires once again on the way to the Super Bowl, of course, but to end up with NFL Defensive Player of the Year. Do you see something like that in his future, or what does he need to do to earn something like that?
I absolutely see that in his future. I think he does too. With him, I know it's only day 7, day 6 of camp. He's been locked in more so than I've ever seen. He's out early to everything. He's really taken that next step as far as in our in our defensive line room being a leader. Obviously, he does that for a team, but he knows that that room is his now. He had some older guys, when he first got in there, and he's really locked in right now. Obviously, the talent continues to keep getting better year to year, so there's no reason he can't. His time will come, and hopefully it's this year.
So you see him, why do you think he's never even gotten a vote for Defensive Player of the Year? Miles.
I can't speak on that.
99 and TJ Watt has 96. And Watt has consistently gotten votes, and Miles has never gotten votes.
I don't know. I can't speak on that. I would vote for him if I had a vote. I love coaching the guy.
But he's never gotten a vote.
Sure. I mean, why wouldn't he get votes? He does everything we ask him to do. He plays the run. He's all over the field. He hardly comes off the field. He impacts the game in a number of different ways. He's unblockable, as advertised. He's gone through 3 guys before. So, yeah, I'll vote for him.
When you talk about him growing as a leader in that room, how does that manifest itself? How have you seen him kind of change in your couple of years here?
I think for anybody, profession, you learn from older people. You always see when you're looking at people, okay, what do they do well, and then what wouldn't I do when I'm in that position? And he was obviously a starter from day one, things like that, but when I'm in a position of leadership now I am not the oldest guy, but one of the older guys in the room. I think he pulled from guys like Olivier, Larry, Malik Jackson, guys we've had in here, Sheldon Day, who's still here. We added Stephen Weatherly, who's been, 8 years. And now he has his own voice, and, he feels very comfortable in that role. And he's always put in the work, so guys are going to follow in that manner. But now being able to lead that room, I think, speaks volumes to him taking that next step.
Does he talk more, or is it just like when he talks, everyone listens?
When he talks, everyone listens. Absolutely.
And what's Clowney's state of mind in his second year now?
As you guys see, he's happy right now. He's very happy to be out here. So we're excited when JD's happy, everyone's happy.
It seems like a happy Clowney is a productive Clowney.
Absolutely. Keep him happy. And, obviously he'll get a little tired here when we start getting into the dog days of camp. Make sure he has that same energy. But the guys are happy to have him back. He's happy to be back. And we expect the same results as last year, if not better.
In terms of the impact plays, the takeaways, the strips, the forced fumbles, and those kinds of things for Miles, are you challenging him to do more of that this year? Is that something he can add to his game?
Yes, we will. It's a fine line. The main thing is to get the sack when you're talking about sack, cause fumble. But 2 years ago he had a bunch of them. Last year he didn't. So, we looked at it closely in the offseason and talked to him about it. But at the end of the day, it's not like he's not trying to strip the ball when he gets there. It's just kind of last year the ball didn't bounce our way. But yeah, we'll emphasize it for sure in Indo and when we get those opportunities.
I apologize if you probably have answers. How do you see that defensive tackle shaking up?
Yeah, right now, like I said, I'm comfortable with the guys we have, but right now Taven and Jordan are running with the ones, and Tommy Togiai and Perrion are running with the twos, and Sheldon Day's missed a couple days here with the back issue, get him plugged in, and then the undrafted guys, we'll see what they can do when we get rolling here, but I feel very comfortable with the top 5 guys when Sheldon's here, so we're going to mix and match those guys. They're all going to be able to play both spots, and then we'll build that thing as we go through camp.
Perrion Winfrey, talking to him, that's, he's an impressive talker anyway. So what does he bring to the defense?
He brings a good attitude, fast, physical, and together is what we preach. And he's those first 2 for sure, fast and physical. And as we get him plugged in here, he'll understand what together is. But, he's an attacking 3 technique that we love in this scheme that can get off and be disruptive. That's what he did in college, and it's exactly why we brought him here.
And Jordan Elliott, what he in his 3rd year now, obviously. So what do you see, and how's he growing?
I said in the spring, Jordan had the best spring of anybody, and coming back to start training camp was very important for him, and he did. He came back, he's 320 pounds, in great shape, very explosive, very strong, and he's locked in as he's ever been. So, like I said earlier, it has to carry over to games. He's got to build that confidence, which I believe he'll do, but time's going to tell.
You talked about Miles getting his voice and becoming more of a leader. How important is it when your best player is also your biggest leader?
I mean, they have to be in some regards, right? Otherwise, it can be very counterproductive. So, I think he understands that, first of all. And, like I said, now him not only being the best player, but also being an older guy who's been around. This is not his first camp. He understands how to play that role, but it's very, very critical for all those guys to fall in place. And we got guys, John Johnson on defense, Anthony Walker. We're building those guys, and the young guys, Jacob, Jeremiah. You start to build that in those guys, and all of a sudden you have a bunch of leaders out there. That's when it really starts clicking.
And you might have answered this, but talk about your off season was a bit unusual. Maybe coming back. What was that?
Yeah, it was, for me it was a decision made for the wrong reasons. At the end of the day, when I got to Ole Miss, I really missed it here. I did not want to move my kids, long story short, and I was very, very fortunate to get my job back here. A great job, great opportunity. So once I got back, now I don't take a single day for granted, so happy to be back.
Is it, you hear coaches say it could be a lifestyle decision between college and the NFL. In college, it's a 365-day, job because of the recruiting aspect.
Right.
Can you expound a little bit on it, because you've been on both sides of that equation?
Yeah, it's true. The way it's gone nowadays, it was always a lot of recruiting in the spring, in the winter. It's nonstop recruiting, but now it's even more so, and NIL, and there's a lot of things to deal with. And for me personally, it was, I have four young kids, 7, 8, 11, 12, so it was a no-brainer once I realized that I made the wrong decision, especially time away. In the NFL offseason, you're able to get out of here at a decent hour and go see them play games and obviously raise your children.
So are they still here when you went down to Ole Miss for?
Yeah, they didn't. I was only there 3 weeks, so
Right,
yeah, they were still here, and we ended up getting 2 spring breaks out of it, so that was worth it.